Bobby and JJ Radio. Today's show is entitled Senior Moving. And if you definitely want to move and you're getting it up into the 55 plus range, you want to know this next young lady, Miss Melinda Hibb with Van Dyke Mortgage. She's been doing mortgages for 17 years, but more importantly, she's been spending the last decade pretty much being the forefront and the most knowledgeable loan officer here in the state of Texas. I know that she's really been the kind of a pioneer in bringing the reverse mortgages here to the state of Texas and helping with legislation and everything. She spends a lot of her time playing golf and taking people's money in poker and hanging out with her low brass specialist. She would never come to our games, which I'm actually kind of happy about. But she also spends a lot of time with her husband Lee, which is a tuba specialist, and he's a musician, and it seems like their whole family's been musicians.
For like the San Antonio Symphony.
Yeah, right.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and he also is a tutor for young children that do low brass. So first off, thank you so much, Melinda, for being here.
I'm always glad to be here.
We're very excited when you're here because, we learn so much from you and all the knowledge that you have about the reverse mortgages. So for those who haven't heard our show before, tell us what a reverse mortgage is. I think there's a lot of stigma to what people think that this actual mortgage is.
Yeah, I will. And I'll have to say in the last few years, it's gotten much better. The media has really come across as being more positive than it used to be. And that's most of the stigma actually came from the media versus anything else. Because you could ask someone, where did you hear what you know? And they really couldn't tell you, or they'd say, my next door neighbor who never did a reverse mortgage.
Right.
But what is a reverse mortgage? It's pretty simple. You can use the equity in your home that you've built up over all the years that you've owned the home. You need to be 62 or over. But once you have that equity in the home, a lot of people don't even think of it, that's maybe the largest portion of my retirement that I could potentially have. But how do I get it out of the house? Well, you've either got to sell the house and get that equity out, in which you still have to go live somewhere, and then you rent, and you're going to spend all that money down.
Right.
So HUD came up with this program many, many years ago. I won't go through the whole history, but since in Texas we've only had it 10 years, what it allows you to do is based on the age of the youngest of the spouse, if there's two of them. You can qualify for a certain amount of equity, and then you can pay off an existing mortgage if you have it, as long as you have enough equity in that home. Or you can borrow against that equity in any amount at any time. So you could take maybe 60% of it out up front and borrow the other 40% later on. You can leave it all in line of credit. You could take monthly payments. But it really is designed to help someone get a little better life as they're older.
Sure.
Whether it's monthly payments just to help with just costs, because insurance taxes go up. With our values going up around this area, taxes and insurance are going up. I start to hear those complaints. And utility bills going up. Just everything. It could help with that. Or just people can have a little bit more relaxed life, just have a little bit extra money to vacation.
So let's say that Carla and I were 70 and
62 and over.
Let's just say I'm 70, she's 68 because we're 2 years apart. And so we have let's use round numbers. I have a $200,000 home, or my home is worth $200,000. I still owe $50,000 on it. So we could get a reverse mortgage to pay off that $50, not worry about a payment anymore.
That's correct. No more payments.
Right. And then I can say, you know what, I also want another $50 to be given to me either up front or in a payment structure over like a period of time. Or just leave the other $150 as a line of credit and just take it when I need it.
Right. I mean, the numbers aren't quite that exact because we're not going to lend you the maximum value on your home.
Right.
One of the reasons is because since you're not making a payment, that interest is going to accrue to the loan. So your loan balance is going to continue to rise. That's why we don't lend you all your equity.
Because then you'll be upside down immediately.
You'll be upside down immediately. So, but yes, you can do any of those options.
That's awesome.
So other than being 62, what are some of the other qualifications that you have to get a reverse mortgage?
Well, sure. Well, obviously you have to own your own home. You need to have equity, and just as a general ballpark, I like to tell people, if you have 50% equity or more, you're usually going to qualify. Sometimes it's not that cut and dry, just depending on how much they owe in the home, but that's a good guideline. And then we do now have in place what's called a financial assessment. This has not been there in the past, but we do now have to look at people's income. If it's Social Security, it's Social Security. If it's pension, it's pension. Whatever that income is, plus their liabilities. And the reason behind this financial assessment is to assure that that person can continue to pay their taxes, their insurance, their maintenance on the home.
Right.
Because that's their responsibilities. And unfortunately, in the past, there have been some people who did not do those things. So we are doing this financial assessment, but it's nothing to be scared about. It's not a full underwriting,
right.
or nor is it credit score driven.
Sure. So before, when the stigma was getting, the bad stigma of reverse mortgages, it was because they weren't looking at this assessment. But now they're going to only give you what you're able to get out of the home, and still know that you can still maintain the home and have it through the life of
That's
the loan.
correct.
Awesome.
That's exactly correct.
So we're going to take a quick break, but we're going to be right back with Miss Melinda Hipp with Van Dyke Mortgage. We're going to talk a lot more about this issue, or this opportunity for anyone that's 62 and over. So don't move an inch, don't touch your dial. We'll be back with Bobby and JJ Radio.